Hello, brick sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and today we're going to try a new type of video. Now, this type of video we're going to call Help Me Brick Sculpt, and this video was inspired by an email I got with a Lego question. So, if you guys have any Lego problems, and please keep it to Lego, I can't solve your other problems. If you have any Lego problems that you'd like to see me possibly solve and video for YouTube, please email them to bricksculpt.chris@gmail.com. And if I like the topic enough, and if I can solve the problem, I'll try to do so on camera for you. So, this video was inspired by an email I got from Kevin Powell. And Kevin said, first off, love your YouTube channel. Thank you, Kevin. Love you guys also. My kid and I like to build around sets mostly and currently working on a dock or a pier for an underwater area. Sounds super cool. Well, we ran into an issue. We can't seem to solve the problem, so I attached some pictures. We want to build a wall with sand blue ingots. That's a cool piece. I don't actually own those. In the pictures, I used blue and white tile since I haven't ordered the ingots yet. Our issue is how to make the pattern look seamless when the wall turns inside. We aren't the greatest builders, honestly. Trust me, Kevin, none of us are. We're all learning. Tried to Google and with no answers, but watched you do some crazy things with Lego, so here is hoping. Well, let's see if we can solve this one for you. In our pictures, it only works because the wall is bending backwards. Any help would be appreciated. And we got a few pictures here where he's using SNOT pieces here. They come at an angle. He put plate on them, and yeah, they're gonna bow out. Now, this is not the most challenging thing I've ever done, but I really love this topic because I guarantee you anyone watching this who's ever built a mock has encountered this same problem. I know I have. And there's lots of different ways to approach this. I'm going to go through several different ways that we can solve this problem, starting with really basic ones and working our way to more complicated ones. Let's go ahead and get after it. Okay, so we have a base plate here with 4 different sections. We're going to go through some different approaches we can take to fixing this problem. I'm going to start with very simple approaches and work my way to more complicated. There's lots of different ways we can fix this problem. So let's see what we can do, and then I'll let Kevin and others decide what works best for them. Now, obviously, we have a couple of SNOT pieces here with tile on it. I basically replicated what he built. If we try to put these at a 45-degree angle, it's not going to happen. They will not meet up. His stuck together kind of because he had less plate on it. Mine's full. It's not going to stick, okay? The simplest solution, stick them apart like this and put a pillar in the corner, just like that. Obviously, it doesn't solve the problem, but if you're okay with that approach, it could solve the problem. Let's go ahead and go one step further here. How can we make this look a little bit better? The next solution, I would say grab some jumper plates. Just like that. Put the walls on jumpers. And then you can use a smaller pillar, a smaller corner. Now again, it doesn't solve the actual problem, but this is typically the method I use when I encounter this problem because it's simple, it's effective, and it works well. Now, if you're using jumper plates with your walls, if you jump in, you have to jump out. So you have to use an equal or opposite jumper on top to get this back to the standard grid. But to me, that's a good solution, and that's what I would do in this build. But again, it doesn't answer the initial problem. So let's dive a little bit deeper here and how we could maybe make this look even more seamless. Now in this grid, I would recommend if you're going to try to get more detailed than that, you possibly might switch to a different piece. And let me explain. The pieces he is using is the standard height SNOT brick that is 3 plates tall, and it leaves a half plate gap at the bottom, just like you see on this wall. This method will be simpler if you switch this up to these pieces instead. Now they look pretty much the same, but these ones do not leave the gaps in between the tiles. Let me show you a tiled one. So here is our standard wall, and this one has them all sandwiched together. So you actually fit 6 rows in the space that this would hold 5. Switching to this method gives you a bigger variety of pieces you can use to solve this. So let's take a look at what else we could do with this. Now these pieces just like this are not going to be super useful for solving the problem, because the biggest problem is we need to set the walls back. And to do that, we're going to need a half plate distance. The easiest way I found to do that is to use brackets. And you can just make a wall out of brackets, filling in behind here to basically create the same panel, except it sticks out a half plate, or 4 LDU, forward. You can do this in this same method if you're using these type of brackets. Actually, the top-down ones would make it the same. You can leave the same spacing, but this is going to have the space at the top, not the bottom. But the top-down bracket, but you get the point. But I don't love this method because it's going to leave large gaps in between here. You're going to have to pull these forward, and you have huge gaps that go really deep, as opposed to the standard wall where they just go 1 plate deep. Now, if we do take brackets, we can then put a plate on top and cover it in our ingots. I highly recommend staggering the ingots. Number 1, because they don't make 1 by 1 ingots. And number 2, because it'll make a more seamless joint. So here, we have it boosted off the ground a little bit. You can put tile under this. And we've got our brackets filled in, plates on the front, and ingots. If you want a little bit more structural strength, instead of having these ingots hang over, you can do this, where you actually have the plate go behind. And then you can fill it out with ingots just like this. Not 100% necessary, but it does give it a nice extra piece of structure, but it does require a few more pieces. And then these finger joints will then come together just like that. And we should be able to stick these down right in grid, leaving very minimal gaps in the corner. I really like that approach, and I think that looks really good. I've never actually done this in my cities, but I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket because that makes for a really nice looking brick wall. You can also do this method with headlight bricks. It's basically the same as this, but you're doing it with a headlight brick, and then you have it pop out a couple plates. If you stagger these tiles as well, you can get these to come together at a nice corner, just like that. The reason I don't love this approach is these grooves are so deep that it really looks kind of goofy. On the surface, if you're looking down at it, it looks fine. But if you're looking straight at it, it's super deep, and that corner is really empty. So I don't love that approach. I think this looks better, but we aren't sticking to the original challenge here. So again, I'm going to let you decide what you want to use and what works well for the build that you're doing. Let's find another method here. Now, if you watch my content regularly, you'll know that I have lots of different methods. And this was a really good challenge of a lot of the different techniques I've done in the past. And I thought, okay, well, what if instead of moving the walls, we move the plates on top? And so I decided I would build the wall instead of like this. And what this is going to allow me to do is to use the slider method. So for these portions here, we'll just have our standard tiles on there. For these portions, we'll use 1 by 2 tiles. And if they only have 1 stud in the middle, these have the ability to slide. So we can move the tiles fore and aft. Now this may create problems if you're making a second corner, but check this out. I think this is a pretty cool technique. So if we put these sliders on here, we can kind of push them back out of the way, just like that. Create a second wall, like this, and we can put them together. And these will fit at that same perfect right angle. And all we have to do is slide our plates into place. And that pretty much perfectly solves the problem. Now these outer edges may become a problem in the future because depending on what you're doing out here, that could cause some problems, but you could put another slider in here if you're creative with it, and keep this technique going for an outside corner as well. So I really like that method. I don't think it's perfect because it could create some other problems, but I think that turned out really nice, and that could be a good solution to your problem. Another way we can do this is instead of sliding the tiles, we could slide the whole wall. Now I did a video a while back on the trans slider method in which I used transparent pieces. So here I did a block of these transparent pieces. If you want to watch that video, I'll link it here as well as at the end of the video. Take our wall, put a hole in it. We can incorporate this block right into the wall. Just like that. We'll put some tile on here. On this piece, you just tile right over the top. Create a second one. Whoops, they gotta go this way. And these will meet up. On the base, you're gonna need something to slide on. So we're gonna use jumpers. So we put down our jumper plates. And then we can put these sliders right on here. Push them back and slide them forward into place. They meet up beautifully in the corner. This method, just like this method, is also going to cause some problems, not with the tiles, but with the top. So depending on how you're going to attach the top, this may create a problem. But if you just want to tile this off and have something overlap it, it will work just fine. So another way you can do that with the trans slider method. So at this point, we've got some pretty good solutions. But I still wanted to find a better one. And so I have one more square. We figured we needed to move the whole wall a half plate forward. And that's really tricky to do with this style wall without making gigantic grooves by using brackets like this. So I figured, what if I take the whole wall and slide it a half plate forward? That should fix our problem. What I had to do is I had to make a special bracket for that. It looks like this. The way this is constructed, I have a couple of base pieces. You don't have to have these. You can use a plate and a tile. 2 1x4 plates on top of that. We have to do a stud reversal. So for that, I'm using Headlight bricks. And we're going to plug that into a bracket. Like this. Now in doing this, I can take a wall and put it on here. Another wall on this one. And they should line up just perfectly. Now we still have these gaps inside. So I think we can improve on that. And the way I went about doing that was with these. I took some SNOT pieces, put a piece of tile on the bottom, and these are going to go upside down on these corners. Now it's not going to fill the entire gap, but it's going to get rid of about 2/3 of it. And so basically it continues that brown underneath there. The white you're not going to see. Same thing with the tan wall here. We can do the same thing on this one. These have to be tile, otherwise the studs will interfere with the other wall. Just like that, and it continues that tan going. So these will meet up. They will still have a little gap on one side, but it gets rid of a lot of the light coming through there. So I think that method works just about perfect. And the back kind of looks like a zipper. Go ahead and stick this down. And there you have it. This is kind of coming apart just because there's nothing attaching the top, but this is a perfect fit in the corner. Now, we still haven't quite accomplished it because you said ingots, not tile. So I built the exact same thing with ingots, just like this. And I love how these can slide together like this and then come apart. It makes for a really cool effect. But same thing, we'll use our same brackets here on the wall with ingots. And we can stick these guys down together as well. So what do you think? Did I solve the problem? It's not 100% perfect because you still have a tiny bit of light coming through in a couple of spots. But for the most part, I think I did a pretty good job. Let me know below if there's a method that you think works better. But overall, I think we did pretty good here. If you have any Lego problems in the future, and make sure they're Lego problems, go ahead and email me, bricksculpt.chris@gmail.com. And if I like the issue, and if I think it's something I can solve, and I think it's going to be relatable to others, I'll make a video out of it. Well, that's all I got for this time. I hope you guys liked this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm going to do more just like this in the future, and we will see you next time.